Hello and welcome back, Mythlanders. We're here for session 34 of Goblin Stone. Over the last few sessions, our heroes, they pulled out all the stops using all of their abilities and all of their strength, and in many cases, all of their hit points to clear the docks of an incursion of goblinoids. Massive, two large companies of hobgoblins. But after many fires and explosions and many downed heroes and a long chase, our heroes are reunited. A wagon full of goods and supplies, a bunch of townsfolk, and even, one of the relic of the Tuatha, the Staff of Ogma. And we left off last session. They were approaching the market square. They could see guards up on the rooftops of the wharf rats in their sort of crow's nests built high up on the roofs. But what do you all recall from last session? What did I leave out? I mean, there was definitely some broad strokes. Nick, what about you? What do you recall from previous sessions?
Mostly being alone, running for my life until I found some safety behind the walls and met a few people down there who I'm still concerned about. I remember just debating what to do with that damn stick. And then finally reaching home and finding where my friends were and all the people they were protecting, only to be almost killed and shot at by 4 crossbows. But thankfully, they knew who I was, or at least they believed me, and ended up shooting the people that were chasing after him. And finally, after all that, he found his friends again. So I'm glad we're all back together again.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Pon Pon? What do you recall from previous sessions?
Well, for me, the biggest highlight was Cliff was returned to us, and we didn't die. Because I don't know, I was getting real suspicious about that possibility. But yeah, I mean, for me, that was the biggest highlight. Nobody died. Cliff's back. Oh, and we got stuff. I mean, you said that already.
Well, it bears mentioning again.
And we leveled up. That's always good.
That's right. As you'll return to the safety of the market square, you're starting to be able to let a little bit of your guard down as you get closer in between sort of the guard pickets, I suppose you'd say, as they're not just on the rooftops right around the square, but they've picked some rooftops nearby where they can get some better positioning. Well, Big Bri, what about you? What do you recall from last session?
I know that Lokag had a lot of alcohol, and so therefore he doesn't remember much.
That is fair.
No, nothing really to add too much. That pretty much covers it.
Okay. DL, anything to add? Any questions?
I remember a building full of goblins that kind of exploded. I'm not entirely sure what happened to the 2 that we had prisoner. I know we discussed not bringing them back to the square with us, but I feel like we ended up back into the square with them still with us. So I don't remember where those guys are.
I think we would be starting out with you all's decision on what exactly you're going to do with them. You haven't entered the square yet, but you are close. Close enough that this would be the time to make your final questions to the goblins or do whatever you're going to do. All right, anybody have anything else to add or any other questions before we jump into it? All right.
Yeah.
Who wound up with the weapon?
You did. You got the rapier. Helena got the rapier.
That's right.
That does the...
That's what we settled on, because I know we weren't quite sure.
And there was some debate about the chain shirt. We were trying to figure out the math and who was best for that.
Who would it look the best on? That's the most important question.
Always the important question. Well, says Millie, do we have any other questions for the goblins? Perhaps we should discuss. We can't just let them go. Doesn't seem right to kill them in cold blood.
Well, what if we let him go with a message? What if there was some way to get a message out to the other goblins and say, you're on the wrong team?
Do you expect one of these two to be convincing? She kind of looks back at the two goblin prisoners.
I don't know. I really don't. They were forthcoming. They sure talked a lot.
It's because they're afraid of you.
Yeah, well, they should be. They should be afraid of us. All of them should be afraid of us. And they should know what they're messing with.
Well, if they get back to their bosses, they're likely to be more afraid of their bosses than us. Don't expect their conviction to last, well, beyond about 100 paces.
Well, then,
What if we offer them a...
Go ahead, Pon Pon.
I was just gonna say, what if we offer them a better life? And then we start employing them to fight for us. That's what I did with the rats.
I'm not against it, says Millie. I think we'll have trouble convincing the rest of the townsfolk.
Yeah,
if we put them to work.
They were never
Put
very...
them to work.
Exactly.
I like the idea. I mean, we keep them in a place. We put them to work. Maybe there's a place. I mean, we got prisons, right, where we put people that break the law, and that's what they done. So maybe we hold on to them, make good use of them. I don't know, either that or we let them go. They're not going home. They go home, they're dead, right? So maybe they'll just run off. They'll just go somewhere on their own. They'll be out of our hair, out of their hair, and that's the end of it.
Well, Cliff, you've said several times
They're
that
probably...
these goblins aren't behaving like normal goblins. Where would we find normal goblins?
Well, I'd say anyone who gets away from this influence, whatever's coming out of that rock. I don't know what it is, but there's something dark. It's the same thing that's, the other option is throw them into the light, Maybe you throw them into the light and they'll understand. Maybe there's some way that we can convert them. I really don't know. This is not my thing, I don't understand this, I've got a lot of natural magic, but I didn't study this stuff. I don't know where it comes from.
Meat. Food is usually the answer. I just use cheese for the rats. They seem to really be interested in meat. Instead of for the masters, why not for them? And then they can become the masters.
Hey, I like your thinking.
It'd work on me. It'd work on me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. X, you got this whole balance thing. You don't seem to have much reservations about taking these guys out. And you know me, I'm an old softy. So I don't know what you think.
X has been directed by the will of his god, so he's willing to listen to what the party has to say, but given choice, he has no tolerance. I was just wondering if we knew, goblins come from Kansas, and if we just send them to Kansas, they'll be normal again, kind of a thing. Is there somewhere that goblins could go to be normal that's not the stone? That's kind of what I was trying to get at.
I think what Cliff would say to that is that, I've known a few hobgoblins in my life. Actually, more than a few. They got a sense of honor and justice and pride, and they're not all like this. They're not all monsters like this. They're not. Something's changed them. Something's behind this. It ain't them. I don't know what it is, but it ain't them. So yeah, I've known a few good ones, and yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I lost my faith in them with all that's going on.
The only places that you know about there being goblins is, weeks travel to the east. There's a thick, massive forest. There's borders, sort of thin places where one can walk into the Feywild, and they're pretty common in the southern area of that forest.
Well, look, how about for now? None of us seems to be able to make up our mind. Why don't we just keep them blindfolded? We put them in a cell, and we hold on to them. Maybe they'll be useful sometime. We treat them like I'd treat any one of my bounties.
I mean, I think they're just really hungry. I think it's easier than we might be thinking.
Could be.
Feed them well. Say you don't get
Right.
more food unless you do this.
Sure. We should probably throw a few toys in them for them to play with, so they don't get bored in their cells.
Yeah.
Maybe a little ball to roll around.
If that's what they like, I guess.
Well, there are all sorts of woodworks. There was a whole sort of tent and booth that had all kinds of games and wooden puzzles and stuff. All that's been moved into the building that has all the woodworks and kitchenwares and such. Well, there's likely, maybe we can find out about the smithy. It's good solid stone foundations. Might be a section of the cellar we can use as a holding cell. And,
Yeah?
I'll spend some time talking to the townsfolk and convincing them this is a good idea. Probably.
All right.
Yeah, I think the
Well,
more we talk about it,
What's that?
Yeah.
the more we talk about it, the more I'm convinced it's a great idea.
Well, for now, we'll put hoods on them. We don't want them to see what's going on. Do they speak common at all?
Let's see here. No, you had spoken. Let's see here.
I was translating, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean they don't.
spoke a little bit, so
Not much.
not much at all. Yeah.
Just use a lot of big words. So I don't know what we're talking about. Pontificate.
I think that'll be a problem.
So yeah, we'll keep them tied up and hooded, and roll them into town. Maybe the townsfolk will see them as a kind of prize.
Maybe, says Millie, doubtful tone in her voice. Lokag's sort of got, the wagon hitch over his shoulders. Are we stopping? Oh, Brian, are you with us?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm still here. I know my my internet's dipping, so I want to strategic about where I interject.
Yeah, I could definitely hear it's spotty over there. It sucks that the tower went down, man.
So yeah, we'll head to town. I think at this point.
Yeah, you all are, you probably stopped about a block or half a block away on a wide street. And you can see at least, you can see two of the wharf rats up on the roofs above. You hear, word being passed that townsfolk are coming. Those of you with better hearing can hear excited calls. The champions of the square have returned. So as Lokag sort of, resets his feet, begins dragging the wagon forward, it's mounded over with barrels of food and casks of rum and drink, but also metals and leathers. Some cages with chickens in them, and there's some children sort of huddle up on the wagon as well. You all take it around sort of to the north side, one of the wider avenues you can get to from your angle. None of the sort of side streets would really allow it's a pretty large flatbed that you all are bringing in.
Are there villagers and townsfolk? Are they gathering around the streets or anything? Or
You could definitely hear, like, there's some excitement, and voices are calling back and forth as you all approach and make your way around. So yeah, you can hear there's a small crowd on the other side of the barricade as there's a creaking of large planks of wood as Pell and some of the other guards begin to move aside the barricade for you all.
well, if there's any amount of cheering or that tinge of excitement, it's going to cause Helena to get on top of the carriage and sort of egg it on, like, yeah, that's right, we're the heroes. Be happy, we do good stuff.
Well, there certainly is. As soon as like the last tapestries, because they basically used everything they could to try to like block sight, block people from coming in. So it takes about 10 minutes for them to dismantle everything. Meanwhile, some wharf rats are above, and they're sort of shouting at you all. And what'd you bring us?
Workers. She's trying to sell it already. They're gonna help us fix the city.
Oh, they could take my shift.
Well, they'll need a little training first.
So as finally the last bits are moved, and you can see the crowd that's gathered. There's shouting and cheers as you all as Lokag begins to drag the wagon inward. A flood of townsfolk as Millie sort of chivies all of them to get them into the safety as quick as possible. The other villagers, the sort of refugees, I guess, are received pretty well. They're clapped on the back and sort of brought in, and people sort of checking over their wounds and looking at them. It seems that a few people recognize each other too. You've reunited a few. Probably just like the wharf rats and the dock workers seem to know each other pretty well, and names and affectionate insults are called back and forth. But with Helena's coaxing, there is a chant, slowly gains some rhythm. Champions of the square. Champions of the square.
That's right. Helena starts saying it with him. Champions of the square.
This takes up pretty well, especially among the little ones. There's a few kids that you all brought in, and some others in the square. Anytime there's any sort of excitement, those kids sort of rush up as far to the front as they can. But it seems that everyone's taken raising the local kids in hand, sort of keeping them back out of the way of the wagon and the townsfolk who are coming in and sort of getting their bearings. So
she's making sure to fly high her fancy hat that she stole at the beginning of the whole thing.
Nice. So with Helena on top of the wagon, sort of egging the square folk on, how does X respond to all of this? How does he enter into the square? Any particular fanfare, or does he go right to business?
No, I think X is low key. He's, just with the rest of the folks with the wagons, and we've got the dock workers and stuff like that probably needed a little medical assistance. So he's like helping people out.
Okay. And so
Not trying to be hidden, but not really trying to be seen either.
just kind of getting to work, and okay. And there are lots of small scrapes and bruises, some not so small, but nothing life-threatening. And yeah, soon X, you find yourself sending some of these dock workers to Pell to be put on shift and be told about when different drill, morning drill and stuff like that. So you all were training with weapons and training some of the square folk with crossbows or bows or whatever they have aptitude with. Millie is pretty similar. She moves sort of straight in. She's directing people to different areas. If they're really hurt, there's an infirmary. Those that she knows, are decent in the kitchen, or if they shoe horses, she kind of starts sending them to the right people. But all along, questioning every third order that Millie gives is Matron Evra. So what about Lokag, as you sort of drag this wagon in? How does he react to the cheer that Helena stirs out of the crowd?
Oh, this is just normal for Lokag. He, he raises his hands like, yes, and flexes for people, give him the muscles.
Yeah, there's some cheering and laughter from that. Eyes, and you all notice a certain scrutiny on each of you, which is people checking to see if you're wounded, but not wanting to get too close, not wanting to bother you or be in the way. But you all get the feel of people steadying themselves on you, knowing that you all are healthy, and that you're not, none of you seem to need any of the care that you're offering, that X is offering to others. Seems to steady them somewhat, and once they've sort of, at least the older townsfolk, the ones who are more, that have more responsibility, definitely look you all over pretty well. But again, without coming close, really, it's just something that you've noticed they do each time you return to the square. What about Clifford? How do you enter the square? Any particular style or anything he does when he comes in?
Well, I think he'll be keeping watch on the two hobgoblins, making sure nobody hurts them. I'll probably make a show of dragging them in. Like, everyone knows, when Cliff comes back with somebody, he's been hunting, he'll always roll them into town, knotted up and tied up and hooded up. So he'll just do the usual deal. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Look for a place to drop them off.
Okay. Yeah. Cheers mix with angry mutters as people spy. Because first it's people coming through and then the wagon, and then probably the rest of you coming in and moving about your work. So, people cheering at you. Some of them turn to angry mutters as they look at the two goblins that you have tied up and blindfolded.
That's appropriate. Totally appropriate. Go ahead and be angry. You should be. Let them have an example. Let them see who their anger should be directed at and understand it. So, yeah, be angry.
Yeah, there's definitely calls for a quick and swift justice. Axe is too good for him. Hang him up! Shouts one of the townsfolk. That's a few of the wharf rats seem to agree with this. Someone else shouts in a mocking, kind of snide tone, give him a trial. But other townfolk are angrily sort of silent, looking questioningly at Clifford and the rest when they sort of look at these goblins and look back to you all, like obviously curious what you're going to do with these goblins.
These goblins are my prisoners, all right? And we got to hold on to them for questioning, and we'll decide what we're going to do with them later. You understand? We're not animals, right?
Make a persuasion check. See how well you get through to some, because there's definitely some people who You've seen the look before when you've brought criminals to justice who have done, especially people who have murdered folks. There's a certain, air of vengefulness about some of the townfolk.
Well, I ain't too convincing. I got a 3.
A 3 is not going to be that convincing. But the angry shouts do die down a bit at your sharp words and your manner, and you've kind of silenced some of those voices, but you haven't really changed anybody's opinions.
Didn't expect to. They're entitled to their opinions. It's about free speech, right? It says it right there on the sign in the bar, right there, number 3, free speech.
Not free for goblins, says one of the workers as they turn around, mutter awkward.
I think that sign means that you'll get a free speech from Baba Brune.
Oh, now that makes sense.
X will try to appeal to some logic, and he'll actually try to stand up for the goblins just a tiny bit. And he'll say something to the town folks like, what if they're just cursed? Maybe the curse could be lifted. We need to try.
Make another persuasion check.
$17.
At first, there are some surprised and fearful people who sort of repeat the word curse and look around, sort of taking a few steps back from the goblins. But this is not the first time you've spoken. You've spoken to people many times, trying to allay their fears, and trying to appeal to the better nature of the masses. And so you send some people away thoughtful with that. And you notice that those eyes sort of look to Millie in her golden skin and that flaming sword that she keeps in her scabbard. And yeah, you get the feeling, basically, just for the strange course that events have taken in these people's lives in the past week, they'll believe that anything is possible, just about, if it's put to them right. But though they trust you all, they definitely don't trust the goblins, and some hard looks are still turned toward them as you all are taking them down to the basement of the smithy. So Helena, once the wagon is in, they begin sort of moving the barricade back into place. Millie is, of course, helping give orders as to where the different materials are going to go to. What else might Helena be doing once she steps into the square?
Well, I'm definitely observing the reaction of the townsfolk, and I imagine that she is often saying, "Just look at what I've done with rats." How helpful they could be. Maybe she tries to stick her finger in where the goblins are. Maybe try to bite her finger or something like that. It's gonna be fine.
Actually, yeah. When you so there's very in the chamber where the so it's like in the basement of the smithy, high up for them in the wall. There's these very thin windows that are barred, and so you can kind of stick your finger down into their cage, but you notice that they scurry away from Helena as you sort of reach into the cell toward them. They certainly don't try to bite Helena.
Oh, they're scared?
They do seem to be frightened of you all.
Well, that's probably better. She would pull out some cheese and hand it to them. Which is already starting to make friends.
The goblins?
Yes.
All right. At the smell of food. One of them comes over and grabs both of the cheeses, eats one, and then the other.
Greedy.
The other runs up and tackles him, and they begin to sort of fight in the cell for several minutes.
Classic.
Interesting. That's what happens when you're really hungry, I guess.
So that's just how they're used to getting their way, says Helena. Or says Millie, in between some of her errands back and forth across the square.
Maybe, but I doubt it. They're dirty and downtrodden. That's relatable to me. You should understand. They don't get their way.
Well, if you think you can get through to them, you'll be...
I need a lot more cheese. I think it's possible.
Well, might be best if you summon some of your own. I think the townsfolk might take particular umbrage if we feed the goblins any of our hard-won stock. Or,
Oh, early enough coin. She has a bunch of coin from the beginning of things. I was gonna say no to that.
Are goblins cannibalistic at all?
you are not the ones that you met,
Good to know. Okay.
but there are some strange and unsavory legends about goblin kind.
Harmful stereotypes. Terrible.
Perhaps possibilities inherent in the feyness of their being. All right, so soon supplies are being brought to where they belong. Booze and food down south in the square, respectively, and then leathers and metals are brought over to the smithy. Young Berdenbell is, he's sort of seems overwrought with joy, sort of bouncing up on the balls of his feet as he directs some of he has help now since you all have, brought laborers and such in, so he's got people to move and clean and haul. He has one of the ingots of mithril in his hand, and he's sort of tumbling it over, running his thumb over it as he continues to shout and bark orders not to spill coal or not to spill a pallet of metal. Well, quite a haul that you've brought. Quite a haul indeed. Some good dwarven steel, a bit of mithril, some gold. Suppose you all had plans for this. He holds up one of the bars of mithril. Oh, but before that, go and get the big one. Yeah. Got something for you, Lokag. Come over and have a seat.
Oh yeah.
All right, no peeking. Close your eyes.
Lokag covers his face with his big hands and giggles like a child.
The reedy old human assistant, almost creaking under the weight of this massive glaive. You all can see it. The whole haft is covered now in twisted metal wire for texture. The glaive itself, at least the one head, doesn't seem to be... You can see that it's the shape has been altered a bit, but the main thing you notice is the pommel has been replaced with a hammerhead.
Yes.
The dwarf sinks the weight of this wire-twisted haft into Lokag's hands, and the weight settles nicely into your hands.
Lokag is still sitting with his eyes closed. Can I look?
Oh,
Can I look?
Yeah, you can open them now, son.
He opens his eyes and he kicks his feet. I love it.
So instead of that sort of hard, flat gray steel, it seems to have been blued. It has, it's a blued steel. You can see that where the blade was retempered, it's streaked with pale sort of peacock reflections, like on the near the blade itself. But most of it is this dark blue steel, wire wrapped handle, and a hammerhead at the other end. It seems pretty well balanced. You could choose whether you're going to strike with the hammerhead or strike with the sword blade at the other end.
Lokag gets up and finds some space in the square, and to check its balance, he's going to start performing like a kata dance, where he's like, it's not really useful for fighting, but it's a lot of spinning and just kind of moving his feet along, almost to like a silent beat in his head, and he's just like going through spear forms with it.
Awesome. You can tell it's been, he obviously made some changes really specific to you and your frame. It's very alive in your hands, and it moves exactly the way you want it to. So you can go ahead and drag a +1 glaive over to your sheet. That can do slashing or bludgeoning damage.
And the bludgeoning damage, is that just...
It would be the same, D10.
Okay, 1d10. Perfect.
So as Lokag is getting used to his new weapon, he tries to, whoever's nearby that he can grab their attention. So likely Helena is pretty close by. So then, Millie asked me to do some more experimenting with the white fire, and I can work much faster with it. It's I made a simple dagger, and it's almost enchanted. It is enchanted, in fact. It's for durability and strength, but it will do no more damage than a normal blade. But it does tell me how powerful it is to have a bit of Bridget's fire in our forge. It seems to each item I forge with it seems to take up a bit of the white fire, slowly using it up like. So we'll have to be mindful of what else you want forged on it. We can do 2 other simple weapons. But I think it can rekindle old enchantments, ones that have faded. It can rekindle them pretty easily. So if I don't know if you've talked with the rest of the gang, but you might want to let them know if you need a couple of other weapons enchanted. We could do that, but that would spin the white fire we have.
Okay. We found these blades. They look real nice, and I'll show them the 2 short swords we found.
You kind of come up on him, behind him, surprising him. He goes, well, I thought it was just Helena and I here. Well,
Oh yeah, I had to come. You got to see this. You should see that stick we found too.
oh, well. Stick? What stick?
I don't know. This wizard was using it, making rocks and walls, and I don't know. You got to ask X. X was looking at it. I don't know.
Right, well, might be good to just gather everyone together and can maybe look over that and well,
Yeah. I'll fetch him. You don't let me interrupt. I'll fetch him. I just wanted you to see these. I'll get them. Maybe we can talk here.
okay, so you
Prioritize.
hand him the swords and he's kind of checking them as he looks back up to Helena. So do you know if you all had given any thought to what else you might want made?
Well, I did collect all these nice rat pelts. Have you ever designed any armor with rat pelt leather? It's really nice, I assure you.
Well, no, I can't say that I have. But leatherwork's not exactly my trade. I mostly just use it for straps and handles, and maybe if I make a scabbard for a particularly nice blade. Never used rat, though.
The old ones get pretty tough. Thicker hide than you'd guess.
That could be useful. Yeah,
I could sell you some.
well, if you have me making some armor, I'm gonna need some.
Here's what I got. She just has like a bunch of like dead rats. She hasn't even skinned them yet.
Oh, well, see what I could do with these. He kind of, takes... He actually just kind of gestures to one of the other. He's got some people working for him. Take these downstairs. Yeah, put them in the gray crates. The gray crates, he says.
I wonder what those are. Can I do a roll to see if Helena has any? What the gray crates imply?
Yeah, it implies that, just by tone of voice, it implies less than valuable, but you can go ahead and make an insight check and see what else you can gain. You think it's probably the trash.
Okay. Those were my friends.
Oh.
Not just. If you're gonna just get rid of them, at least do it with honor. A little bit of respect, maybe.
Whatever made you
Someone
think
else might
we
want
were gonna get rid of them?
You emphasized the gray containers twice. What else would that mean? The super special spot where we put the things that we don't normally get from weirdos like me. I understand. It's fine. It's fine.
Yes, I just, it's not that I don't think, now I don't have the, and I really don't know, so, but you understand.
No, actually, I really don't, which is why I offered you the pelts to be used. But I do understand what you meant, if that's what you mean.
Oh, good, very good. He says, now, the mithril. We were speaking of the mithril, and, X, Lokag, oh, good, it's, good. Millie, good.
Elena gets mad and walks out of the shop. I'll be outside.
Well, I put my boot in my mouth. May have offended Helena a mite. But you'll smooth it over for me, eh? Kind of looks nervously out the doorway.
She's out there ranting and raving to herself, arms going up in the air, pounding her fist into her hand.
And what you all see when you look out there, you kind of see her doing that, but you also see there's two little girls have run up, and they're running around her and like pantomiming what she's doing, and kind of they're trying to act like Helena. Definitely some of the young kids have taken a shine to Helena. So now, I meant to have you all here, but you can talk to Helena about this, though. I was wondering, I'm sure you had some plan for this, for the bars of Mithril here, and you brought in such good steel. I was wondering what your next request was. But also, he kind of reiterates about the Bridget's Flame, and it seems that the forge just kind of uses it up when he enchants something with it. So he kind of updates you as to what's going on with the forge, and then asks if you all have any special requests for the mithril, like what you wanted to use it for.
Well, I know it makes for a fine chain shirt, but what else can you do with mithril?
It's good edge steel. It's good edge metal for sure. Make weapons. Turn it into some. Turn it into a good helmet, a good shield.
What makes it different than any other weapon or shield? Is it lighter?
Well, it carries enchantment well. A mite lighter. If you made armor out of it, you'd notice a difference.
Maybe a breastplate. Those things are heavy.
There's certainly enough to turn a breastplate out of it.
Theoretically, the best thing we can do with it would be make heavy armor for Millie that wouldn't
That would be
give her
medium.
disadvantage
Yeah.
on stealth.
Oh, what's your dex? Millie's dex is kind of low.
Let's see here. She's got a 15 to her dex.
Bad.
Well, I could
Yeah, it's
certainly
hard
get
to-
working on something like that.
Yeah, so we'll wait for Millie, but it sounds like some kind of armor for Millie would be good.
All right, so he says, "I'd like to hold on to these two short swords for a moment, for the day.
Yeah.
Look them over and
Yeah.
see what I might find. Steel's looks old, way older than the handles and scabbard. I suspect there might be a secret in these blades. If I can suss out what it is, I'll let you know."
Right.
All right, so you.
Oh, you.
What's that?
I'm sorry. One last thing. They had some bullets for me as well, and I think I had to wait on them. They were going to craft some ammunition. I don't know if that was already available, but I never took it from last time. But I remember there was some kind of maybe we can make some special bullets or improvements on the pistol. Do you remember that from before?
Absolutely do.
Yeah.
So
he'll say, yeah. Oh, and yeah. What about that ammunition you were working on?
Oh yeah. Just hold on, just a moment. He steps back through another room, comes back out and gives you a box with 20, just regular bullets in it. And then he's got 5 more.
Oh.
One is sort of ugly yellow. One's got a green band around it. But he basically says that he points to the different ones. So this one should give a nice fiery burst. This one here should do cold. This one should do acid. This one poison, and this one electricity, like lightning.
All right.
On a real good hit, it might hit some of their neighbors if they got any close enough.
Packs a wallop. Good to know. I'll use them wisely. I will use them wisely.
Best way to use them. Pleasure to make ammunition for such a fine piece.
Oh, yes, she is a fine piece. I mean that respectfully. You understand?
Well, of course, of course. So with Millie, it pretty quickly is, kind of says her piece on what to do with the mithril. And as far as the steel, like she just mentions that the sooner that you all can, that she can get sort of better armor, breastplates and such like that for the guards of the square, then the better that'll be. But she's quickly drawn over to other jobs and slips back out to the square itself. Let's see here. Helena, while you are sort of rambling and complaining out in the square, and it takes you a moment, but you notice that you've gathered like 4 kids around you who are all kind of like, well, yeah, they're sort of doing, they're copying you basically. They're just doing exactly what you do, but like a few seconds later, and they seem to be, sort of trying to outdo each other for who can copy you the fastest or the more accurately. What does Helena make of this?
Kind of gets her to stop in her tracks for a moment and realizes that she's kind of influencing their behavior. And then she's like, I'll have to apply to the goblins later. But for now, all of you, stop it! Stop it, that's terrible, I'm terrible. You don't do like... Never do like Helena, okay? I mean, unless you're just being funny. That part's fine. Make yourselves useful and, I don't know. If you want to be like me, go find word on the street and go find something dangerous, troublesome, and come back to me and I'll give you some money or something.
So at first they're...
Hey, kids, go out in the street and find something dangerous.
So at first, they're pantomiming to each other. They should stop it. They should not, and but they can't quite, get your voice. They can't remember exactly what you said, and so half of the words are made up, sort of gibberish. But they do soon disperse outward, and you can kind of see them running up to clusters of other adults, getting underfoot. Some of them, stopping work from happening and asking too many questions, likely trying to get the word on the street. But one of them sneaks toward, or slips over to the northeast, one of the avenues going out of the square. It's guarded, but they make a break for the barricade, like they're going to try and sneak out, and one of the guards grabs them by the scruff of their neck, pulls them back up, and turns them around and sets them back toward the square. But they the kid, gives a calculating look back suggesting that they might try to sneak out again. So what else might X be doing during this time?
Well, I think I like the idea of trying to uncurse these goblins. So I think what X would want to do is start thinking about maybe meditating, looking around, doing some research. If there's any books he can access, how would I go about? I mean, he recalls obviously he knows what a remove curse spell is, but just trying to find a way, trying to think through if we could cast that spell, like like we did the summoning of the food, kind of do a ritual with the people who can channel magic. Is there some way for us to try to purge these goblins of the stone's influence? That's what X wants to look into.
And the staff, right? The staff is corrupted as well. The one that X has.
Yeah, good call. So purifying the staff and or the goblins.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make 2 religion checks. And there are some. There's a book on myths and legends of Arabelle at the booksellers, and in it are some simple rituals.
That's an 18 and a 20, sir.
Nice. So it is. So as far as if the goblins are cursed, if they've gone through magics to be bound to some other powerful entity against their will, there are certainly rituals that can sort of break that influence and give the goblins the ability to sort of decide for themselves. And you're pretty sure you could do it similarly, having gathering Millie and a few other folks that you used for the last ritual. And you think it'd be it would probably take about an hour. From what you and you know that the fountain itself, the waters are, well, the statue is blessed, so the water itself is holy water, and that could certainly be used in that ritual. Would you do this ritual like out in front of other folks, or would you do it in the cell where the goblins are being held, or?
I would like it to be public. I think for better or for worse, because if we do it publicly and it succeeds, then people will see that it's, potentially we could save these goblins from their situation. If it doesn't work, then I think that's also in X's best interest, because then people are convinced that you can't save them, and X can just then go back to indiscriminately killing goblins and still have the moral high ground.
Okay.
That's what we call in these parts a false dilemma, son.
All right. So Millie is pretty easy to convince. She's probably happy to try that. But some of the townfolk themselves might not be so excited. So what do you say to Wirmi, who is the cook and the owner of the Mistfield Square dining hall? She was a big help in your ritual. And she'd be like the main one to convince. So when you bring the idea up to her, you can sense before you bring it up to her that she's going to be resistant to that. So how might X pitch that to her?
What is the like? What do I know about her? Is she in any way religious, or has
She
children,
is
or
very
anything
religious.
like that?
And yeah, she has children and grandchildren. None of them are here, but yeah.
So I think X would focus on the idea of penitence, like these goblins. Maybe if we could save them, if there's a way to free them, only then can they be penitent. Only then can they save themselves, and they could help us in our cause. If if we were able to lift this curse from them, and give them the freedom to exercise their own will, then potentially they would see us as allies, help us with what they know, or maybe help convert other goblins to our side and end the threat, because we're not going to kill every goblin in the stone. That's not possible. So maybe this is another way to go about it, where we can save them instead of killing them. And I think all religions have some tenet about, not an eye for an eye kind of thing, right? Like, there's no reason to kill these goblins now that we have them prisoner, right? That's not justice.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, what I would try to use. The goblins are never going to be able to find forgiveness for themselves or do anything good until we lift this curse. So let's give them that opportunity. And then if they don't take advantage of that opportunity, we will put them out of their misery very quickly.
Well, as the Book of Deeds says, the Book of Anu tells us that there's room for all who will work at the hearth of Bridget. So if these goblins, if they can be, if whatever curse binds them to those goblins in the stone can be removed, and they'll work here for us and help us all survive here, then you may be right. I'll help you, even if it's a fool's errand. That seems a righteous cause.
Perhaps you could help me convince the others as well.
They'll listen to me. Don't you worry. So yeah, she sends out a couple of the younger kids, runners, to go speak to the others. And pretty soon you've got 9 willing participants, including Millie.
And can we do the goblins and the staff at the same time, or do we have to do them separately? Or
all right. So with the staff, after speaking with the blacksmith to confer, you only know. After really thinking about what you have, he says that each attempt to enchant anything is using up some of the flame. And you do know that it's not, that it will use up some of the flame to try to purify the Staff of Ogma. You're not certain if there's enough of the purifier left in the hearth to do so. It might be that you spend all of what Bridget's flame you have here in the square, and it still doesn't work. But again, it might work. So you're not sure. You'd say it's about a 50-50 chance of being enough. But that would definitely take all of it, and you wouldn't be able to make any other items with that.
well, I would consult with the rest of the group then and see what they want to do. The flame is just for weapons, or also could be used on armor?
Also could be used on armor. So yeah, to refresh.
Yeah, my vote. my vote then. Well, okay. So just to be clear, we use up the flame that we've got in the lantern. That's fine. That's not Bridget's flame itself. We can still, at some point when we're back in the stone, we could still get another dose of the flame,
Yeah.
so to speak. Okay. So, yeah, I would probably +1 a couple more things and then try to get to the flame under the stone and see what we can do.
All right. Pon, what do you think about that? Use the flame to craft some magic items or to try to purify the Staff of Ogma?
I'm all for purifying the staff.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If the 2 short swords maybe can be triggered at least, because you said they already have a little magic in them. That would be.
Yeah, and it would be a chance to uncurse the staff. It might not work. It might not be enough of the pure flame. So it's spin the flame at a 50-50 chance to decurse the Staff of Ogma, or use that flame to definitely craft 2 more magical weapons or pieces of armor.
We could save the staff for once we're back in the temple.
Yep, that's my vote. We will purify the staff in the flame itself.
The only way to be sure.
Big Bri, what does Lokak think?
Lokag has not been paying attention at all to what they're doing. He's still over there doing his kata, but I agree. I think in the temple is the right move for the staff. As a player, of course.
Okay. Well, then Millie would agree with that as well. Alright, so yeah, there's a couple of other items you all can enchant. You could have them crafted on a mithril first, or if you have gear on you that you wanted to enchant, you could do that instead.
My vote is to get the best armor we can for Millie, make that +1, and get Millie a +1 shield, and then just have our tank, tricked out for AC and ready to go.
Yeah, there's the question of whether Millie's planning on getting moving up to a 16 dex. If so, the chain shirt would be perfect for Millie, the one we have, and it's +1. So that might already be the best, unless Millie's planning on sticking to 15, in which case, I know we're getting all number crunchy here.
If they can actually make mithril plate, full plate, then there's no armor in the game that will give a better armor class.
Well, yeah, but if they're getting the dex, the 16 dex, then it's sort of wasted, right? Because they don't get the dex bonus. So the 2 points of dex would be ignored, and it's a sort of a balance there.
Okay, well, let's provided everybody agrees that you all want to spend that mithril to help your tank out. Is that anybody against that? Okay. Well, we can just kind of.
Yeah. Okay. It just depends if they're taking the chain. Then, I guess if they don't take the chain and they take something new, then someone else will take it. So that's fine.
Well, just let Joe decide what he wants. I mean, he can.
Yeah, we could do it. Maybe we just do this off. We just do that in an offline thing. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's just table that for later.
Yeah.
Okay. So for now. As Klieger, you're sort of gathering everyone probably around the fountain and the statue itself. For your goblin ritual, yeah?
You accidentally called me Klieger. That's pretty funny.
Oh, I did call you Klieger. DL. That's his character's name in our Thursday night game.
Suddenly, a singing barbarian appears.
So as X, you're, gathering some folk together from the town. A lot of sort of dubious expressions on their faces. They're not really quite sure that they know what you're about, but they're going to give it their best. They're going to contribute to the ritual in good faith. But still, there's some sort of mutterings about wasting energy on these goblins. So what do you think that ritual might look like?
Well, I think the first thing is we have to figure out what we're going to do with the goblins. So I'm going to put Cliff in charge of the goblins. He needs to, keep them calm, get them to the edge of the fountain, let them play in the fountain with their feet, whatever, so that they get the water on them. So I think I would try to recruit Cliff to help keep the goblins in the ritual.
He'll convince them that it's for their best. It's the only way I'm gonna be able to avoid having you killed. So take a bath.
Okay.
You stink.
Yeah, they are kind of wary of the whole thing, obviously. But then when you say, this is going to keep you alive, they take their boots off and dip their feet into the water. And they just sort of look around, mixed terror and apprehension sort of on their faces. And there's some, angry looks from some of the townsfolk as they've gathered to watch this ritual.
So I think what it looks like is, some power starts to form around the fountain and then kind of comes up and out in a dome and kind of encases the whole fountain and the people who are casting the ritual inside this dome. And the dome just cuts them off from whatever source they're being influenced by. And then the dome just kind of fills with the radiance slowly over the course of the hour until the entire dome is just filled with holy radiance. So nothing in here can be influenced. It's cut off from the outside and purged from the inside.
All right. So the gentle waves of chanting rise and fall from you and the other ritual goers. The goblin's sense of apprehension and fear builds as the fervor in you all's voices. They sort of shrink into themselves, disappearing as much as they can, and only Cliff being nearby to keep them from bolting. They look at several points like they're going to run. They're going to try to dash away. They do not. And one might have just enough time to regret it. As the ritual builds and gets to a key point, and prayers are being released, as well as this focused intention that's been built up over the hour. As light plays, white light that gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and it's almost a torrent of white light, as if it's from Bridget's fire itself, plays out over the fountain, the waters, and of course the statue of the dragon of Artemisia. As both goblins sort of groan and clutch their heads, they both scream. One, it screams sort of rising higher and higher and higher, and it just cuts off. The goblin sort of falls over, shaking and sweating. Thick drops of this dark sort of orangish green substance sweating out of the goblin's skin. The other keeps screeching. It drops to the ground. It sort of still with its head over its hands and sort of rolls up into a ball. It keeps shrinking and shrinking, collapsing on itself. Heat, you can feel heat as this creature, this one goblin, seems to be burned to an ashy husk on the edge of on the edge of the fountain. The other goblin falls off, or Cliff, perhaps you catch the goblin as it falls.
Yeah, I'll tend to him.
Yeah, the goblin
That's
seems to be
it.
swooning. It's
Hold his hair back while he,
yeah. I mean, your hands are covered with this sort of thick, oily residue. That scent, that sort of putrid, like rotten milk smell, is very strong on this goblin as it sweats out some sort of poison.
That's right. I'm wearing my gloves. My hunting gloves.
There you go. Yeah.
Definitely try to avoid making contact with the goo. Maybe we can capture some of it. Maybe there's an alchemist here who can look at it and study it.
Okay, so you scrape some of it off into an old potion vial.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but I'll make sure, I'll try to talk to the guy and say, you did it. You think, how do you feel?
The goblin is insensate, but conscious.
Yeah.
Just sort of, stunned.
All right.
And next, you can tell that the ritual was very hard for the goblin, and one survived and one didn't.
I guess the other one was too far gone, huh?
I think X would say something like, 2 good results.
That's your ritual, X. It sounds like it's doing that thing you do where you find the balance, right? Some of them are good and some of them are bad. And, well, you seem to have a sense for it, don't you?
Indeed. 2 good results.
So what does Helena make of this ritual? Or is she doing something else?
She is pretty uninterested in it, and she's desperately trying to look like she's paying attention, but she keeps like dropping stuff or poking at things and maybe just pacing back and forth a little bit while it's going on. She's not really listening. She trusts this is in the hands of people who know what that all means.
Right. So as you're desperate to be probably anywhere else, you find yourself maybe looking around the square here and there. A lot of people they're busy, they're doing work. The blacksmithy is going with new orders and new materials. But there are 2 figures that are pretty idle. You spot the matron Evra speaking with the arms seller, Mildred. You can't hear what it's saying, but you think she's giving Mildred some sort of tongue lashing. He seems to kind of be cowed in himself a bit. She has a posture that she's like almost standing up on the balls of her feet, fussing at Mildred. A few moments of this, you can see over every now and then. You'll look over, and she's still kind of seems to be giving Mildred some crap about something. Finally, she dismisses him, and he goes back into his shop. And she turns and looks around the crowd, and Lady Evram, her eyes catch Helena's. She's giving you a considering, sort of appraising look, and a look that you can make an insight check on.
Okay. Oops. No. 4.
All right, you could use your GM inspiration, or you can let that hang.
I mean, yeah, I kind of want to know.
Okay, 15. It's the kind of look that says, I know something that you don't, and it's about you.
Ah, that's an awful smug look you got on your face there.
So almost interrupting the ritual, out on the edge of the crowd, Helena kind of shouts out in the middle of it. And Evram just sort of tilts her head and walks south. It looks like she goes to Baba Brune's.
Well, Helena looks around. You're like, they don't need me here. I'd like to stealth away and follow her.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check.
19?
19, all right. So, it's still daylight. You all came back in the morning. So, mostly just sort of timing things to when people are looking the other way. You slip your way to the south and hide outside the doorway to the tavern. As Evrim is inside, you can hear her talking to Baba Brune. And based on the questions that she's asking, you think that she is going around collecting information about people. She's just asking Baba Brune what seem to be some simple questions about who's in the town, asking if he has any relatives in the square, and asking a few questions about your group, about Millie and that deplorable-looking woman with the crossbow. I think she means you. That disheveled-looking woman with the crossbow.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Big man with the tattoos. The elf with the tattoos. And you can tell she's pretty curious about X, too. You get the sense that she thinks she knows X, but isn't sure. But she doesn't mention anything about Mildred.
What's her name again?
Evra.
Evra.
Matron
I
Evra.
see. Wish I could put Hunter's mark on her, but it doesn't work quite like that.
Could Cliff get a little insight on her?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not part of the ritual, then you're free to be moving around.
Yeah, I think we're done with the hobgoblin.
Well, actually, let's wait on
Where's
that.
Okay.
Because it's that's only something that Helena has noticed.
My bad.
That's okay. But you might have spotted Helena going all sneaky and slipping through the crowd. You probably spot her hiding outside the door of the tavern. And you
right,
figure out that she's following Matron Evra.
All right. Good. I know where she's going.
Yeah, I mean, you see Helena hiding
leave her
outside
be.
the tavern.
I'll leave her be and focus on this hobgoblin. Gonna need to move him into a holding cell or something downstairs, maybe in the basement.
Okay, these two that you kidnapped, they're just goblins.
Oh, regular goblins. Oh, okay. I thought they were hobs. Yeah. All right. Well, we got one test subject.
All right, so yeah,
Let
X
them.
X is finishing up the ritual, and X, you can see Clifford has caught this goblin as it fell, and is kind of talking to it a little bit. But Clifford also looks like something caught his eye to the south. And he looks like
I'll give X a look. I'll give X like a little look, like shake my head and kind of tilt and be like, something's up.
Well, X can't talk to the goblin, so Cliff
Yeah.
needs to be the interpreter.
Yeah, I think at this point, this goblin is kind of kaput right now. So I think we're going to put him down and put him aside for a bit. So find a place to tie him up in the basement cellar.
Okay.
And we'll have questions for him later.
Well, so X, Wirami, after the ritual is finished, and as Clifford's sort of taken the still prisoner, she says, a question in her voice as she sees, she watches Clifford escorting the goblin away. Did it work? Didn't work.
It looks like it. Well, look at
Sorry,
you
just
can
talking
see.
to X at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It worked with one. One was able to successfully shake the poison off. Apparently, it's some sort of physical presence. It looks like there's still some evidence of whatever residue this is. So it was purged from one. The other, perhaps, too influenced, too far gone.
Maybe Bridget's fire just burned him up.
X will give a knowing smile and say, hopefully.
Well, I trust the Tuatha De Danann. You can send that one to the kitchen. I'll have work for it to do. I'll keep a watchful eye on it.
I'll communicate that to Cliff to pass along to the goblin, see if he's willing to work for a living.
You trust this goblin with a knife? Maybe we'll start with a broom. How about that?
All sorts of work's available in a kitchen, after all.
See what we can do. We'll have to assess this goblin and see if it really, really worked. Hopefully he's thankful.
The first thing it does is sort of curl up on, a patch of cloth, whatever you've given it for a bed, and immediately it sleeps for like a good portion of the day. It seems exhausted by the ritual.
Poor fella's all tuckered out. They're almost kind of cute when they're sleeping.
At some point, Millie comes to each one of you. Probably Helena last, as Helena seems busy at the moment. But Millie says to each one of you, it looks like Matron Evram's been pretty curious about us and about what's going on in the square. She seems to be asking a lot of questions and getting told over and over again that we're in charge. Hopefully that will forestall any future questions, but I doubt it. So Helena, as you listen at the door to Lady Evram, and just sort of more of the same. She's asking other, Uton, Tar, and Wynn are both inside the tavern as well, and she's asking them questions. But, Wynn is just sort of giving it the runaround and making fun of the lady. So what else might Helena be doing?
After all that, well, I think she would definitely come back to the crew if they're still doing the ritual. She's not so crass to interrupt it, but she would wait until they were finished, and she would mention how that lady's, although they probably already know someone, but she's asking about us, and she don't trust it, and she wants to keep following her, set up, trap her and interrogate her. Maybe she works. Just kind of see what the crew thinks.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I don't trust no one.
Millie says, I seriously doubt she was working with goblins. She barely wants to talk to us. But,
Why is she asking about us then?
Probably trying to... Well, probably just... she's going to talk to everybody, seeing what the situation is, seeing if what we told her was true. But she's probably going to try to find a way to be a pain in our butt.
Yes, so therefore she works with the enemy.
Wish it were that simple, says Millie.
We know about her. Do we know her role in town before all this came down? Anyone familiar with her?
She doesn't even have a noble title. but definitely has the tone of someone who's used to being obeyed and listened to.
Oh.
Even Millie and Helena don't really know exactly who she is.
She's trying to capitalize on chaos is what she's doing. I'm trying to do.
Right. Can't have anyone getting in the way of Helena's chaos. It'll be chaos.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm no leader. I don't know what I'm doing. And if there's some level of statesmanly, Baba Bruin's the closest thing I can think of to a leader of this place. I don't know. Maybe they know something we don't. Maybe we need to give him a talking to. Maybe we follow him and have a little conversation.
I don't know if she's going to be that much trouble. My thinking is she's just going to try and take over and boss people around more. That's probably why she's talking to everybody. But
Maybe she's the master.
Huh.
I don't like it. I'm gonna follow her still.
There you go. Let us know how it goes.
I would like Helena to continue to spy on her, if that's possible.
Yeah.
okay,
Go for it.
You can make a perception check then, just to see, what you're able to hear of her words throughout the day.
Boo.
All right. Well, she's not very stealthy, and she's not very perceptive, so she doesn't notice you as you kind of shadow her throughout the day. But you definitely get the strong sense that there are a couple of people in the square that she knows, that she has some sort of dirt on Mildred. But you can't shake the feeling that it's something about you, Helena. Whatever it is has positively shut Mildred down. He doesn't step outside for the rest of the day. You all don't see him. He doesn't. If you go into his shop, he's seems to be off in another room. I think this is a good spot to take a short break. How does that sound to everybody?
Cool. Works for me. All right.
All right, Mythlanders, we'll see you all in 10 minutes.
All right.
Most likely conspiring against Lena.
I'll be right back in.
I'm back. How's it going on the stream? I'm not able to pull Twitch up and
All right. We are back. So, it looks like for the next several hours, Helena is following around Matron Evra to see what else she might be doing. But she never references her conversation with Mildred. And, but you do get... There are two other times you get the feeling that she knows something about somebody. She seems to know something about Baba Brune. She references where he sources his honey from. It seems to be something he wanted to keep a secret, but yeah, you get the feeling it connects to a story he doesn't want people knowing about. And Cyril, one of the alchemists, lady, seems to know all three of them and seems to exert subtle pressure on them when she's talking to them. But she doesn't say exactly what it is. She references a thing that her and the other party knows about. So you kind of get the feel that Amelia was basically right. She's just trying to exert her influence over people in the square, and spends a good portion of the day trying to do just that.
What a creep.
Yeah.
Well, Helena's got a pet project now.
Right. So you talk to Baird Bell, the blacksmith. You all get him to work on some armor for Millie. He checks. He's gone for about 2 hours, and he finds Clifford again. Hands the short swords back to you with a grin. Don't know who's going to need him the most. Looks like you've got a serviceable blade. But these were old steel indeed. Must have been a hero at some point wore these.
They look like it. They look beautiful. Nice piece, you can tell, right?
The steel
Got a
itself.
glow about them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one should be able to summon fire along its length. It's limited. The one with the rivers carved onto the scabbard can summon ice onto its blade. Again, it's limited.
Ah. Fire and ice. Well, that's interesting. Now, do they work alone, or they gotta stay together?
They're not connected, other than by the craftsman who made the blades.
You know who? You got a sense of who made it, how old it is?
The blade's at least 800 years old. Each.
And not a drop of corrosion. I mean, I never seen it. I mean, I find these things on the ground and they're all beat up after 5-10 years. 800.
No, I know who was selling those. You didn't find those on the ground, he says. He looks over at the dwarf Gila. I'd seen them on her table more than once.
Well, it's a precious thing. Let's not let it get in the wrong hands, huh? Let me try him out. And he'll, grab the two of them and spin around and, get the weight of them, if I may.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll spin it around and show off a bit. I don't know who else would use these. Just out of character. Who else in this team would want to have one of them? Short sword, finesse weapon, and all that.
Yeah, just Give them to who needs them, and may they kill many goblins, says the dwarf.
Well, I got this rapier I really like. Well, you know, the other thing with this pistol, I gotta say, it's really loud. I wonder, it would be the weaponsmith that would be doing anything with the pistol, right?
Don't know if I could make it any quieter. A few ways I could make it louder, though.
Well, now that would terrify him now, wouldn't it? Oh, you know, I like that idea. If you got some kind of loudifier, what I could use, then I could have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, he could pretty quickly craft you a bell out of brass to stick on the end of it.
So it has like a clang to it when it goes off. Now, Cliff does have silence as a spell. So at some point, he'd love to be able to sort of infuse it into the gun, you know, into the pistol, or at the very least, apply it in some way. So I know we talked a little bit about enchantments and having the right spells and such. So going forward, I'd love to be able to have a silencer. So
That's something you
puts
could
a little
do.
spark of that in his mind about how, you know, be nice to make it quiet.
Well, you could definitely get with the dwarf and make some ammunition. It was specifically silent.
Oh, well, that'd be good. Yeah, that would be sweet. I would enjoy that. I would
Okay,
definitely
so-
pay for that.
So you spend a
Yeah.
portion of the day with him because you need to be in there applying your magic.
Yeah, and I have tinker tools too, so I have tinkering. It's one of my things.
Oh, excellent.
So me and the dwarf are gonna hang out, and I'm just gonna fanboy, you know.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
he's not like great at the stuff, but he's a real fan of, like, you know, it's like people who watch sports but they don't play sports. It's like that. He's just really a fan of the stuff. He doesn't know how it all works, really.
You
but-
get in the next few hours of working with him, you'll get 4 of these that are silenced. That gun won't make
Nice.
any noise, and
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
There's a chance they'll silence any spellcaster that you hit with it.
Oh, sweet. Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right. So what about Lokak? What else might he be doing during the day? There's a ritual going on for part of it, as X successfully uncurses one of the goblins. Technically, depending on how you look at it, he uncurses both of them, but one just doesn't survive the process.
I think it's okay. The point he's gonna the mall, where he got it from the arms and
Ah, man, your voice is cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Would you mind repeating that?
if it gets in, or you can hear me at all.
I think you should type it, and then one of us will speak for you.
That's a good idea. Who's got the
All right,
best
I'm gonna-
Lokak?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it, unless
Yeah,
Lokag, your choice.
Okay. So Lokak goes to Mildred's shop. He does not show up at first. You know, as you open the door and creak, he normally pretty much appears as you walk in the door, but Mildred does not just appear this time. He calls kind of weakly from another room. Take what you need and put it in the ledger. It's a heavy sigh at the end of it. Okay. So Lokak continues to call out for him. Just a moment, I'm coming, I'm coming. He comes out and he's pretty disheveled. Oh, that's kind of you to bring it all the way back. You You could have just put it on the rack. You didn't need to rouse me. But oh, I see you've, oh.
What is the matter with your face?
Oh, well, nothing. He lies, obviously. Just worried about everyone and what tomorrow will bring. Yes, you can definitely incite that, Big Bry. And now we have all these new mouths to feed and hands to keep busy. And he's definitely lying. He looks outside several times, as if, and his voice kind of lowers. You see him looking at Helena. His eyes quickly dart toward the ground. Yeah, it's just, just so many mouths to feed. And idle hands, something to worry about. And but it's clearly...
I demand to know what is the matter. Why you look at Helena?
So you need to make an intimidation check, I think, for Lotag. He starts to just sort of...
You make squinchy faces.
He just looks stricken as Lotag just leans over him and repeats. It's possible that I know who Helena's father is. He kind of leaves the rest unsaid, and he looks away, and Lotag, that sort of look away tells you kind of everything. You think that he's suggesting that he knows that he's her father. Ooh.
Gasping. Gasping, too much gasping, can't speak. Does Helena know?
He busies himself,
That's great! 2 great business owners.
Well, I suppose that's looking on the bright side. But I couldn't tell her. His face sort of just almost buckles and crumbles. He's clearly ashamed and embarrassed.
Well, now, Helena, why not know? Why not tell her? I'll tell her for you.
No, you don't need to do all that. She's done fine without me to look after her all those years, and well, I don't know if you'll understand this, but family pressures. There was a woman I loved dearly in my youth, but my mother and father wouldn't have it. They paid for her to go away. They said they made the problem go away, and they forbade me to seek her or speak of her. I never saw her again. But I see you every time I look at young Helena, especially the past 3 years as she's looks more and more like her mother. And
Where's her mother? Who is her mother?
oh, That's no, well, that's the name wouldn't mean anything to you, though she meant everything to me. But yes.
That is sad. I am sorry. We are friends. I keep your secret. You should tell her. You tell her. When you're ready. That is the right thing that friends do.
I should.
Family. You are family now. Helena, she is family.
Yes, but I haven't really been, have I? And it seems a bit too late. She doesn't need a dad anymore. And yes, once I have the nerve, I think. I'll tell her when I'm ready.
I keep your secret.
Thank you, big man. You're an honorable sort. Yes.
And this was an honorable hammer.
Yes, yes.
It never too late. Stone fell, made everything different. You got this, buddy. Now, what is your return policy on this hammer?
I'm going to sell it for even more now that it's been wielded by the brave and powerful Lokag, hero of the square. And yes, I have this. I'll tell her soon. Just have to figure out how I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I'm not so great with words. But you must be great dad if you make a great Helena.
I've had little to do in the woman that she's become. But I am proud. I am.
You have been dad whole life, and I only know for a very short time.
Well, that's the time I've been most proud of her. I've known for some time, I think. But never was I more proud as these last horrible days, this last week. She's really shown what she's made of, hasn't she? Yes, she has.
We are all her rats. We are hungry rats. I am hungry. I must go. I must find food. I give you a big hug.
Oh, that's really not necessary. Kind of. Yeah.
Lifts you off the ground to chest level for a moment.
You wring the old man out. He sort of drops limply back to the ground. Yes, go find some food, big man. And his eyes kind of follow you out. He looks out toward Helena, and his eyes sort of dart away again. He shuffles back off into another room in his space. So
I think we should do that more often. Switching our voices out like that. I would love to play X or Helena or something.
That was pretty
funny.
fun.
Yeah, we should do that more often.
So X, you feel that the matcha is somehow very close, almost like someone who's waiting for you to be done so that they can speak with you. Ever since the ritual, she feels very close indeed.
I think X would then seek out some privacy.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found a spot on the rooftop over the smithy. It was a nice place to meditate quietly. So, let's see if I can get back up there and make contact.
All right. As you climb up to the roof, taking another look out across the war-torn city, burned out buildings, whole sort of squares blackened with the massive bonfires that goblins make throughout the night. Likely places that they've bivouacked, sort of sleeping the day away, and food and wine and waters of the city itself. But as you're not here to reflect on all of that. You set yourself to pay attention to that quiet space in your mind. You feel it almost like a hallway stretching out. You can almost imagine yourself moving down this narrow hallway toward the darkened halls of the matcha. Her voice echoing. And you can kind of, in this large, indistinct chamber, you sort of see and hear her like a silhouette, a massive shape in the darkness. There's the smell of wet earth, whether it's newly turned soil by the farmer or by the undertaker. You make a beginning toward balancing the scales, X. But you have let mercy be shown to some of our enemy. If they do not serve you well, and the knowledge does not further the reach of my spears, then I will not be happy. Each one you do not kill must help you to kill many more. And more.
If they are freed from the power of the stone, is this not the same as killing them?
Lives must be sent to me. They must pass through my hands. But there is more killing to be done. Your stone, it boils like a kicked anthill. They have felt your presence in the streets and in the stone. They know you must go there. For their masters also speak to one on high, one removed from your world as I am. And so your power is matched against theirs. But there are many more voices in unison within the stone. When they come at you again, it will be with their best. They send their hobgoblins and their bugbears into the streets. And soon, strange things shaped by their hands will follow. You can forestall this. Distract them within the stone, and they will not send these to your square. Rest in your square, and they will surely come. For events are balanced on the edge of a knife. They may still overrun the city. There are many numbers of captives within the stone, and their ritual is unraveling a point in space. They would summon one of my order to your world. So your work now lies within the stone. If we are not already there, soon will come the time when when curiosities cannot be satisfied, when when you cannot let yourselves anymore be distracted by the city and its events and saving and gathering. For soon they will come in force, and they will come over and over. The only thing that will stop that is you distracting them in the stone. In the stone, where many are ready to be sent to my scales to balance.
As you wish.
I would suggest speaking to your captive and getting what knowledge you can to guide the spear.
There is one at the base of the stone in the waters below, a powerful entity who does not seem to be part of the goblin enemy. What do you know of her?
The swamp hag, Aga. We fought her. Our descendants fought her. And she was bound. Her prison kept within the Tower of Ogma. She wishes power. She wishes a return to her swamp. And she wishes one day to see her sisters again. She is not part of the stone. Though they are alike in their proclivities, their madness and their chaos. And they have reached an accord.
So she is now a foe.
She was always and ever a foe. One that many a foolish mortal hero thought they could bargain with. But perhaps you are the clever. Perhaps you and your circle are clever enough to bargain with her. She knows many things.
We've killed a total of 4 of their captains, right? Or 5. We there was Root Eater, then the 3 we had at the docks. But is there another one that I'm missing?
There was a goblin boss that you killed.
Life Choker.
Oh, okay. So,
From
all right.
before.
So we've reduced their leadership by 5. The arrows you gave me were very effective. We shall seek the others.
I await their souls. With that feeling fades. You get the feeling of almost being thrown back down this long corridor. Alright. Does anybody else have anything they'd be focusing on? Anything that they wanted to get done or ask about? Pon?
Knew you were gonna ask me. All Helena can think about is replenishing her cheese stocks and such. She's not the best long-term planner. I don't know. I mean, she's feeling disrespected. She's insecure about all these, knowing this lady's talking about her, doesn't know what it is, and people looking down on her. So she caves a little bit. Maybe she wants to buy a nice outfit for herself, scare people. That's not what she's thinking. She's going to scare people, but as a player, I'm thinking that might be the outcome.
We found gold and stuff. We probably got some sweet, lucre. We could rock some pretty amazing outfits.
She needs something to match her hat, and if anyone wants to try to brush her hair, I think that would be the next move. She's gonna shake things up.
Cliff could get the dirt out using mold earth, so he could conceivably shape your hair if you don't mind having mud in it. Shape your hair in whatever style you wanted, like a pomade. That's what he does with his own hair. And his mustache, of course.
Oh. Well, Helena appreciates the
Theoretically.
the offer. She appreciates the offer. She'd normally take him up. She's feeling a lot of conventional social pressure, and she wants to prove them wrong that she's not always she has always been a dirty, I don't know what to say that's not nice. She's wild. She's wild.
Hey, yeah, we all come from the dirt, right?
We do. And she's proud of it, but at the same time, you know, she's wondering if perhaps if she presents herself differently, how it will affect others. So
Well, there is a tailor. She's been Tegla. She's been acting as one of the guards, but as you go and find her, she's not on shift. She has a night shift, and she's she's surprised when you mention that you're looking for new clothes.
No.
What sort of thing would you be looking for? You can come on up and I'll show you some cloths, and we might have something that you already like, but be happy to make you something.
Oh, I was hoping to have something now. Do you have anything that might fit me?
Well, come on in. Let's see what we find. There are, racks and dressing downs, or dressing dummies with court gowns, streetwear, but a lot of it's very fine, silks and brocades. Just depends on what you'd be looking for. Are you looking for something for to be seen at court, or a ball, or some fine streetwear, or?
Yeah, I think generally the fine streetwear that I am a respected individual of this here city. Because I am.
And
In fact.
none would argue that, Lena.
But some do, and that's why I'm here. Give them one less thing to argue about.
We'll show them a whole new Helena then. How's that?
That's what I'm going for.
Right. Well, let's see. I don't think. Let's see. What about a mauve?
Well, do you think it matches my hat?
No, I can't say I have anything that's kind of quite exactly match that. But we'll certainly see what we can do. So she shows you, some of the what she calls the streetwear is usually complete with a cloak and a hat, as well. But it's a lot of sort of short sleeves, big poofy shoulders, slashes in between in the silk, with like some slashes in between where you can see a different color silk underneath. Massively wide skirts, complete with matching parasols. So she goes through a few dozen different outfits before you find something that Helena can actually move in. Everything else is like just incredibly heavy and stuffy and like, but she finds you something with, like I said, a skirt that you could hide all sorts of things up underneath, and in the sleeves, of course, as well. It's a little tight around the middle. Sort of pushes everything up in a maybe uncomfortable way for Helena.
Yeah, I definitely want her to look and feel uncomfortable by the time it's through.
All right, so yeah, you come out bedecked in sort of well, she goes for more grays and blacks because she can't quite match your hat, and so it kind of stands out of the outfit. But in high boots with velvet skirts, and the thing that took her the longest though was brushing out your hair. And braiding it and such.
That had to take hours.
Yeah, but she's happy to do it, happy for something to do. Off-duty guard as she is, now back to the trade that she's, just a week ago was doing every day for her living. And she asks you all sorts of kind of nonsense questions, like, at least for Helena, would be nonsense questions. So, any of the boys got their eyes on you this spring?
You mean my rats?
Oh, no, I meant, how did you find wines lately, then?
Oh, probably. I don't really pay attention. But it was pretty good. Baba Bruins, I think it was wine. It could have been mead. I don't really remember.
Again, she kind of chuckles as you've made some great witticism. But yeah, there's a few hours that you're in there while she's hammering you with small talk and braiding your hair and getting fixed and ready.
I wanted to mention following Evra and how she's got secrets and she knows that she's got something on her and she doesn't trust her, and watch out for that one.
Oh, we noticed her. Don't you worry. She just wants everyone to know how important she is, but I don't think anyone's much of a mind for listening to her. You all have saved our bacon a number of times, so I wouldn't worry too much about her. Imagine she feels proper useless about now.
Well, as she should.
Well, you just keep her feeling that way by keeping us safe and sound here. But change out of this before you go back off into the streets. So what else might Clifford be doing while Helena is off getting gussied up?
Clifford would want to hang out with the rest of his crew, find Lokag and X and Millie and, try to gather together and, maybe talk strategy. I don't know how much, some people aren't here, so it'd be difficult, but I think that's where he'd want to go. Next is to, maybe see Baba Bruin, check on things, make sure everyone's doing okay in the town, just get a general vibe on, anything I might have missed, while we were away, any developments. Kind of got his ears to the street, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if Lokag can't talk right now, so it's a little challenging. But and X is meditating. I don't know if he's done meditating. Maybe we could talk strategy.
So you're kind of trying to find everybody, but everyone's off somewhere for the moment. And you're just moving
so he'll
out
just roam around and just get a vibe on the town, the people.
You notice something
ears to the ground,
unsettling. Not in the town, not in the square. Things are people are, I mean, about as tense as they normally are. Their city is war ravaged in the middle of an invasion, and there's columns of smoke. As you look out, there's dozens of columns of smoke from the different goblin bonfires that have been burned down to cinders during the morning. But there's plenty of work to be done. And so, well, there's nothing, you don't notice anything unsettling in the town. But when you look up to the stone, you see shapes flying about the peak of the stone itself in the low clouds. They look like the shapes of dragons. But they couldn't be very big ones. You'd have to gauge that they're maybe 15 feet nose to tail. Wormlings, it looks like. But you do count 5 of them.
Not good. Wormlings coming. They're going to double down. They're going to stop sending their fodder, and they're going to start sending their slaughter. It isn't good. He'll get a high point and kind of really take it in, and try to assess the buildings around, the defensibility, what's been taken, what hasn't. And if you can, talk to the wharf rats and the various other people in the guards, and try to take some level of maybe leadership, to do some scouting, or at least to sit in a room, look at a plan, some kind of map on the table where we can strategize and figure out, how are we gonna deal with this insurgents. I don't know if anyone's done that. He's looking for leaders,
From what I mean, as far as how the town square is running, each group is sort of to some degree autonomous, and it's you guys that seem to be the leadership of the square. The half-elven Captain Ephraim, he seems to have taken charge of the square watch, for instance.
Yeah.
Wirami seems to be in control of the food, like that. But before that, go ahead and make.
Ephraim as well. Yeah, Ephraim's the guy to be hanging out with. What do you want me to roll?
So make a survival or nature check.
Survival's good. I'm okay at survival.
Because you take some time. You're looking at these goblins. You get.
All right, I'll even do advantage on that. It hasn't finished rolling, but 18's probably good. But I'm going to go ahead and use my lucky on it. I might as well. So I'll roll again just to see if I get luckier.
Pretty good.
Yeah, 18's pretty good. I'll keep the 18.
All right. So they seem to be, the wormlings seem to be green dragons. And you know enough to know that they belch out poisonous gas.
Great.
So thankfully, they're not a fire-breathing sort.
You got any defense for that? Masks. Maybe something we can put together to make it safer. I don't know. It's not my thing. We'll figure something. Maybe we can make a big air bubble, and then the gas can't get in, right? That'll work. Scary.
Captain
All right.
Ephraim doesn't seem to be able to offer anything about that. He says maybe the apothecary will have some idea, but I've kept the streets of the city safe for 40 years, and that's nothing I've ever dealt with, so I don't know what to tell you about that.
Unless we take it to them before they come.
I think folks in the square would be a lot happier if you did.
I think that's going to be the next thing we do. And you're going to be all right here? You can hold off the goblin hordes that are coming at you right now.
If they just keep sending goblins after us, we'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I'll let you know. The rest of us are all recovering. It's been rough, but I think we're coming together.
Son, no one expects you to go out again today. Take the day and rest.
And I was down by the east wall, by the way. Met some good fellas there. They helped me out. So commendations to them, and want to make sure they're safe. So you think you could send some scouts out their way, make sure they're covered?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Probably be best
I'd like to know if
bring them back here.
they're alive. Yeah, if you can get them back here, they were real help. It might be safer if they need to pull back. We need to make a tactical retreat. That's your call. This is what you do. And
we've got some extra hands as it is. So
all right.
We've probably got 6 that are ready to take to the streets. If you need them to go with you next time you enter the stone, or if you needed them to do something else.
Listen, I got to tell you one thing about these goblins. It's an existential dilemma when you got to turn off your feelings so you can kill a man. You know what I'm talking about. You got to pretend like they deserve it. You got to find some reason why it's okay. You're not killing a fella. Well, you don't have to do that with these. They're corrupted. They got something in them. They got something in them that ain't human. It's something big, and it's dark. And you just tell your people that there's no reason why you should hold back right now until we take care of this. Now, you can capture them. You can hold on to them. Well, we might be able to convert them. You understand? I watched them. I saw them in the light. I saw them burning. One of them burned up, and he was gone, but one of them, he made it. We got one little guy, and, well, there might be some redemption possible, just so you know.
I'll leave that to the priest. We're not
All
too
right.
interested in taking any captives.
All right. Well, that's I understand. So you don't hold back, but damn, I hope we can solve this and we can have our town back in peace.
Well, it's not going to happen before you and your crew get a good rest.
Yeah, that's right. Rest. That's a thing. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
All right.
You should probably go get some then. He looks at you with open concern in his face after, you sort of talked about some of what you saw recently.
All right. Well, I can't sleep unless I've had a few drinks, so off to the bar. And he'll head off to meet everyone else.
All right. So what about X? Is there anything else he might be focusing on during this time, during the day?
Well, above the table, I understand that we're 5th level now. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
At 5th level, I get 2nd level spells. Do I have access to those yet or not?
As soon as you get a long rest, you can prepare the new spells, but you start out automatically having access to those spell slots. But we're here throughout the day, so there's no reason not to, as part of your meditation earlier, that can be enough for you to meditate and gain new spells. So yeah.
Nice.
All right, I intend to take Zone of Truth as one of my 2nd level spells.
Nice.
So after getting, in terms of flavor, this was great because 3rd level is the level where you get your cleric subclass now, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess that little lecture from Matcha is X truly becoming a death cleric and getting his subclass in a way.
Nice.
So I kind of love that. But maybe I could get Cliff before he gets too drunk, and we could go talk to that goblin. I could put up a Zone of Truth, and we could ask it all kinds of questions and get information about the stone and know whether or not it's telling the truth.
Yeah, he'd be willing to help out anytime. I mean, he's definitely looking kind of, you know where to find him kind of thing. So you come to the bar and, you have a drink with him. We can talk about it. Talk about plans, and, he'll let you know what he's learned just for the sake of sharing information. He'll let you know about the dragons, the wormlings.
Okay. X will make it clear that as of tomorrow morning, very early, he's getting up and heading back toward the stone with whoever's going to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I'm just saying, on the way there, we might have some aerial assaults, unless we go low. But if we don't take them out, well, they're going to come at the town. So I'm worried about them wormlings.
I have it on good authority that this cannot be stopped, except that we stop it in the stone. We have to eradicate this at the source. Fighting the dragons won't help. More will be coming unless we stop the thing that's bringing them.
So we go under. We take the underground route. We avoid them. Is that what you're saying?
I say we retrace our steps that we did first. Enter through the base, work our way up.
Well, I talked to the captain. They said they can hold the town, so they'll be all right without us. Once we get some rest, I'm with you. We leave at dawn. I'm ready.
Well, let's go see what information we can gather from this goblin. Any small advantages that we could have could be
hopefully
critical.
He woke up. Yeah, I feel you. he was forthcoming, I gotta say. You know, they gave us some ideas even before. But now that he's uncorrupted, well, I sure hope he appreciates it. We should bring some treats. And he'll grab like some stuff from the road as they're going to where the goblin is. He'll, from one of the food tables, he'll grab a little minced pie and, little candy.
X is gonna level a stare at him and say, "That goblin is now a cook. He needs to be giving us treats."
Eventually. But, he needs to know what something tastes like if he's going to know how to cook it. You know what? I just thought of it. He could be our taster. You know how kings, they got the poison tasters so nobody kills them. Well, hey, this goblin, we could use him for everything. He'd be the perfect example for the others. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting out of my head here, but yeah, let's give him a talk.
All right, so you guys make your way across the square into the smithy.
I'll be the good cop.
Already hard at work on Millie's armor. They just sort of nod as you pass through the smithy and make it down to the basement, to what is now functioning as the goblin's cell. The goblin's sort of back in the corner, sort of as you all open the door, just staring at you all from the edge of the pool of light coming in through the smithy.
Locag will come with us too.
Standing silently in the doorway.
Yeah, just maintaining. Yes.
All right, then. I'll put up the zone of truth, and we can start grilling this goblin about what he knows.
All right, so X chanting in imperious tones. The goblin sort of like crouches, almost like he's ready to dodge or jump. He seems to relax somewhat when no spell lashes out at him, but he's still sort of almost on all fours, sort of looking at you guys, like ready to run or dodge.
Cliff is like, "What are you doing there, buddy?" Whoa. He did not expect him to start incanting, so he's a little thrown off. My Arcana check, I rolled a 1, so he's like freaking out, looking around.
This makes the goblin even more nervous.
Yeah, we're both nervous now.
Yeah.
Sort of worried about the goblin. No, he's okay now. We fixed him, right? Don't kill him. He's not going to kill you, says in Goblin. He's not going to kill you. It's okay. I don't know what he's doing. No, I don't know.
The goblin just looks quickly from back and forth between the two of you. What do you say to the goblin? What do you ask him?
Yeah, I'll translate for you, whatever you want to say.
Well, first, I need to know if he made his save. It's a DC 17, I believe, charisma save.
Let's see here. You presume he did not, but I don't know if there would not be an outward sign, I don't think.
Yeah, you might not
The spell
know.
actually says you know if a creature succeeds or fails on the
Then
save.
you know that he succumbed to your magic.
Nice.
Okay. So I think the first thing I would ask is if when was the last time he was inside the stone?
3 sleeps.
What defenses are on the first floor of the stone, the bottom of the stone? Have the defenses been changed?
Archers, traps, devious cunning, cuts in stone, fiery booms, poison gases, archers, and dummies look like archers, but not archers. May have been changed. Don't know.
Oh, we knew about them. Remember that? That was funny. Clever trick. Kind of praises him. He appreciates goblin ingenuity like that. Some of this stuff is just telepathic, right? The things that he's saying, he's kind of telepathic with the thought, the zone of truth, right? Or does it just makes him? It just makes him be honest, right? Is that it?
He can't lie.
It's not telepathic. Yeah. Here, try this. What do you think of this? And he gives him the mince pie and see if he likes it. He has to tell me if it's good or not.
He sniffs at it, and then devours it pretty quickly. Ah, very good. More? Is there another one? I would like another one.
Yeah, well, you just keep showing us how cooperative you are.
Very cooperative.
You don't have to. You don't even need a master. You get it? We don't have masters here. No more masters.
No master?
No masters. Isn't that great?
Who makes you work?
You work for money. You work for pies. Get it?
Money? Work for money? Work for pie?
Yeah.
What kind of work?
Cooking. Cleaning.
Cleaning?
Yeah.
Why cleaning?
What do you know how to... He tried to kind of vibes and is like, yeah, you got to show you're useful. If you're not useful, well, you can just fend on your own, huh?
I make good traps.
Traps? Well, how good? You'll have to show me your tricks, buddy.
Oh, the best
I'm sure
traps.
we can.
Very clever, very hard to see.
So he's not lying. He's honest about this. This is helpful. Yeah, you could probably tell me a lot about all your little clever traps and all the little clever traps you always do. Maybe I'm all right with the pen. I can draw up some of these designs. Maybe we could work together. I have to know some famous inventors. I know some.
X is gonna cut Cliff off here.
He'll keep going. He'll just keep going if he don't stop.
We got to get back on track here, Cliff. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask him what they're using the prisoners for.
Sacrifice. Big ritual of the masters. They summon the one-eyed. They bring him here. Big bloody goblin god. Make him your god.
I'll draw in the dirt on the floor, kind of a little plan of the stone, and I'll ask the goblin to show me where the ritual is.
Indicates that it's up in the peaks of the stone itself. Not up in the very top, but, the 3/4 of the way up the stone seems to indicate that there's different sets of chambers that are kind of connected, but they all seem to be connected by one large negative space in any point to another point. That massive space on the bottom floor where you all have entered so many times, suggesting that space goes throughout the whole stone, and it touches upon these other sets of chambers up above.
Is that also where they have the artifacts?
No. Artifacts. He points down on the bottom floor, just where you suspected that where you heard the goblin chanting. You heard that there was a small shrine in the lower reaches of the stone. So that's where he indicates that the relics were taken to. Long rituals curse objects, make them so goblins can use them against townsfolk. Crush townsfolk gods. Take over town.
That didn't work so great for you now, did it? Maybe they lied to you. Maybe they think that they could make the goblin world great again, but they tricked you, huh?
No lie, can do it. Masters are powerful. Mm-hmm. One Eye is more powerful.
Yeah? How come I killed one of your masters? I killed one of your leaders. I stabbed him right through the head. With this, he pulls out his rapier. And I took his big, stupid stick.
You did not kill one of Masters.
What is
Yeah.
the password?
What's that, X?
What is the password?
Password to what?
I'm just asking the goblin, and if he knows of a password, he has to tell the truth.
Oh. I don't know any passwords.
What's your safe word?
Easy
Never mind.
now.
Never mind.
Not that kind of interrogation.
Yet. Any other questions we want for this guy? I'm trying to think. Would be interesting to know when this infection kind of hit them all, when the goblins met the masters and all that. When did all this change? When did they come?
Change? What change?
You saw what happened to your friend. He just burned up because you saw that goo coming out of you. That green goo. That was
You purged
corruption.
blood of
That
one
was-
eye.
Yeah, you don't get it. That's cursed. That blood of one eye.
No,
it ain't
you
good
don't
for
get
you.
it. His blessing. His powerful blessing. His one eye's blessing.
Oh,
Make
my
goblins
friend,
strong.
you're gonna.
Make goblins
No.
fierce. Make goblins not feel pain.
It makes you nothing. It makes you my fingernail. It makes you a tiny piece of some great bigger thing that doesn't care about you anymore. It'll just as soon just bite it and spit it out. You get
Yes,
it?
So?
You-
Every
that makes
boss
you a
leader is
cog.
like, every boss leader is like this.
No, you don't understand. You gotta.
Every
You
goblin
gotta
is
be
just part of the
yourself.
tribe.
Cliff's slams his foot down and he's just like,
Ah.
God damn it. Stupid fucking goblins. They don't understand. They'll never understand. And he's just walks outside. He's just pissed
Just
off.
kind of
He's
leans
angry.
back. Cliff gets angry.
Hey, charisma, come on. I can't
Yeah.
be that nice.
I mean, technically, Cliff also has to tell the truth because he's in the zone.
I was gonna say I rolled, and I rolled a 5, so he's totally honest at this point. So if you want to play games, if you want to get him to admit shit, he's all yours. He's all yours. He has some deep, dark secrets you could ask him about.
No, not interested.
That's very thoughtful. Appreciate it.
I don't need to know your safe word.
It's vanilla. Good times. Do any other players have questions that we want to proxy ask the goblin? Pompon or Locag? You can kind of have ideas.
Does he like rats?
Nope. I got a note from Locag. And that means that Locag won't have his mind read either, so he's safe.
Podpon, did you have any questions you wanted them to ask the goblin?
I was assuming I wasn't there.
You could roll in, right? You can roll
But
in.
I think it'd be a good time for me to roll in right after Cliff just gives up.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
You see Cliff coming outside, and he's just like, God damn it, stupid fucking goblin. He's just he sort of walks away. He's kind of oblivious, and he's just trying to get some distance, and just, he decides to pull out a cigarette, and he starts having a smoke.
So, Helena's all different now, and she's all prettified. When she comes in, though, it doesn't change who she is. And she comes in with an apple.
Nice.
Having a hard time with the goblin.
Oh God, they're so fucking stupid. And Cliff's just looking down at the ground. He knows it's Helena, but he doesn't see Helena yet. She's like, they're just such tools. They're just grime. They're just dirt on my fingernails, and they like it.
Don't talk bad about dirt.
Well, that's the thing.
Look, and if they're just tools, and you gotta work them. You gotta work them the right way, right?
Well, that's
So you
the
offer
thing.
them gratuitous amounts of food.
Oh God, so they want me to be the master. That's what they want. They're saying you, me, we gotta be masters now. I'm not a master. I don't master people. It's just not my thing.
They must need like a dominant rat. I understand. Let me talk to him.
Yeah, you talk some sense into him. I'll translate. I'll go in there and I'll speak in Goblin for you. I'm just so tired of this, Like, I've known some good goblins. They're not like this, okay? This is messed up.
Oh, come on. Let's give it one more try.
All right, he'll go on in.
So Helena comes in and she offers her apple. The leftover apple to the goblin, just sits down.
In her new finery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Cliff finally notices. Whoa. Noticeably.
And she waits for the goblin to do what it does, if it eats it or whatever.
Yeah, after a moment, he takes it and sniffs it and sits down across from Helena and starts chewing on getting the last of the bits of, what you didn't eat, cleaning off the rest of the apple core.
I like food. Tell the goblin I said that.
She likes food too.
Oh, yes, food is very good. I love food.
I know some people, they don't like food, but you guys, we're special. We like it.
Oh, it's got it. Eating parts of the apple core that most people don't eat.
I could get you a lot more food.
How would you give? How? I would like more food.
Well, the thing is that we need you to help us out instead of your master. I'm not sure what my guys told you, but I'll get you more food if you help us. Lots more food.
Help you do what?
Hey, I got an idea. He knows how to make traps. He's an expert.
Wow.
He might be able to show us some things. He knows how the goblins work.
We gotta not overwhelm him. We gotta slow down. One thing at a time. Well, we gotta fight. We gotta fix, and we gotta make stuff. Can you do that?
I can fight. I fight good. Fight good with club and dagger.
We can get better ones for you too. If you do good for it. We're better masters. Better food, better weapons, better sleep.
Food and sleep, and good steel, and more of these.
Yeah.
Holds up the apple.
Better things too.
He just pops the rest of the apple core in his mouth and begins chewing on it. Stem, seeds, everything. Okay. You tell Humlup who to kill.
If everybody gives you a hard time, you come to me.
Okay. I kill for you. Who you want me to kill?
Well, we gotta wait on that one, but we're gonna let you rest in the meanwhile. Thank you.
All right. Well, very important woman there, you can tell all that finery, very important. You impressed her, so, you do the right thing. Yeah, well done.
She looked important. Smells very important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, we got masters here, you get it?
Yes, I get it. Yes, I get it. Yes, masters.
Good.
And strong and big man too.
Mm,
Big man.
exactly.
And then quiet, skinny, scary man with tattoos. New bosses.
See,
New bosses.
Oh,
easy.
Humlump. Call me Humlump.
Humlump.
Oh, I'll write that down.
Yes.
Well, I'm Cliff. I guess
Cliff?
never told you the name. Call me Cliff.
Cliff. Like fall off cliff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
You get it.
How you get this name? You throw
Yeah.
enemies off cliff?
It's a long story. It's where I used to live. But you'll have to get to know me. You're not really a friend yet. You're more of an employee. So
Employee. Okay.
yeah, employee. It's like master, employee. That's how things work here. I'll try to teach you a little common, so you can speak directly. You don't have to speak the goblin like this.
Okay.
It might take you some time. So
I know some
tell you
words.
one.
He just rattles off a
Yeah.
bunch of like
Ah.
foul words and explicatives and insults.
Nice.
essentially.
Oh, yeah, those are good ones. We'll try this one. Please. You know that one?
No.
Yeah, it's magic. You'll see.
Magic word. I
Yes.
like magic words.
Please, try it.
Get me another one of these. Please.
Well done. I shall return at my leisure when I feel like it, and I'll bring you something to eat.
It's not very good magic word.
X.
I use magic word, I still have to wait.
It's how the magic works. Doesn't come right away. Sometimes you have to have a little faith.
Stupid magic.
Anything else, X? Do you have anything else for him? Because I'm ready to roll.
Yep. Nope. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all
Leave
leave the goblin in their cell for the rest of the day. You all manage to get meals and to rest.
Awesome.
There's a rhythmic pinging now coming from the smithy as they begin to shape larger plates, or this mithril, and spread it out into larger plates, which to clad Millie in armor and reinforce her shield as well. Occasionally you can look up and you can see these small dragons wheeling about the top of the stone as the smoke from massive goblin fires makes black, sort of undulating columns around the city up into the sky. And the square itself bustles with activity as the 24 new people you've brought in are fitted into different places to sleep and places to work, and are busy meeting a lot of new faces. But with new things in the works in the square, and new reasons to drive yourself back into the stone, I think this is a good spot to pause for the session.
All right.
Come back to the next session here in the square and spend out whatever rest of the day you all want to before the evening, and whatever events come with that. And then, it sounds like you all are going to be heading into the stone. Yeah. Well, all right. right, so as time slows to an imperceptible crawl for our heroes, now back in the square, getting used to, now having access to a new bevy of abilities and powers. A town square full of people that are pretty faithful and loyal to you all, who are building things for you all to continue defending the square and continue bringing the fight to the goblins who have invaded the city. And perhaps a few steps closer to understanding some of what's going on in the square. You certainly have, you know what awaits you the next time you go in there. Things that you've dealt with before, but now you all have the aforementioned new abilities. And some more specific goals within the stone, too. So that should keep things interesting in the sessions ahead. Now, let's see here. Anything stand out for you this session, Pon Pon?
Quite a few things. Obviously, Helena hasn't heard about her dad, but that's a big deal. It's pretty freaking exciting. I like all the developments happening. I feel like there's this really neat, I don't know, everything kind of converged really nice. Like everybody's independent activity converging there at the end. I thought that was really neat. And I really enjoyed interacting with the goblin briefly and making Helena look really different. I'm very curious how people are going to react to that. I don't know what got up, why I didn't have any thought or desire or wish to do that beforehand. So I'm kind of surprised it happened, but Helena does what Helena does. I can't.
I think it's pretty fitting. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like slowly getting used to all this attention from these people, even like kids starting to sort of like think Helena's really cool.
That may have had something to do with it when she was like, "No, man, you don't be like me." She does have some self-awareness.
You're a role model now. Look up to you.
Heck yeah. Let's see, from Lokag, he enjoyed getting his badass new weapon and finding out that Mildred is Helena's dad, and being the one to keep the dramatic irony going, because the character does not know. Only one character does, and now all of the players and viewers know. But Helena does not yet know. That keeps the fun up, so I appreciate that. That was good. DL, how about you? Any thoughts for the session?
Oh man, I got in trouble with mommy for being nice to a goblin.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough. No, I think it was an interesting session for X. I think for the sake of just seeing if the goblins could be saved, I liked that we went through that, and I think it was a good result for him that one got saved and one didn't. I feel like that's the balancing thing that X appreciated. The interaction with Matcha was good. Gives us a very clear path forward. What we need to do, or at least a goal out there. And then the interaction with the goblin, I'm not sure how much useful stuff we got out of there, but it was fun nonetheless. So appreciate that.
Heck yeah. Cliff, how about you? Any thoughts for you on the session?
Yeah, it was fun. I was all over the place. We had a little bit of a skeleton crew, which meant that the 3.5 of us that could hold it up. I felt bad that I was a lot of fun though, voicing Lokag for a bit.
That was fun.
I really enjoyed that. It's like an improv game where one person says the words and then the other person has to move through the motions. It's kind of a fun little. I felt like a puppet a little bit, which it's just neat. So I'd love to have one of those episodes where we're all in each other's bodies. Do one of those. Freaky Friday episodes. I think it could be a lot of fun. So maybe we'll walk into some weird room and we'll have some magical twister that throws us off. But that was a little sense of that. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a great sesh, Cal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun for y'all to be back in the square and be able to check on different things that are going on. Of course, get Lokag his new weapon, or his old improved weapon. Get the blacksmiths working on enchanting some things. Got those two swords, those two short swords that are now enchanted, or the enchantment has been sort of restoked within them. And a little bit of information, through the matcha on at least one of the gods of the city think that you all should be doing. And be able to like spot that there's wormlings have hatched and are flying about the top of the Dragonstone. All things that should prove pretty interesting once we get back to them in the play. But yeah, all around, good session. Of course, missed having Jay Fink and Big Brian chat, but next session we'll have everybody back at the table, and you will be headed back into the stone after finalizing some details here in the square. But good session, gang. Thanks for an awesome session, and Mythlanders out there, thanks for coming and supporting us and watching another Monday. Be good to yourselves. Drink some water, get some rest. Get out there and live y'all's story, and we'll see y'all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.